Astrology can be a beautiful tool for the pioneer woman to better understand herself, to better understand this unseen energy that is happening in and around her. I have personally found that astrology is a tool to help me navigate all the extra feelings, all the extra pressure, all the extra senses of self of like what is happening around the world and what is going on out in this cosmos. And I didn't look into astrology until my late 30s, early 40s. What's really cool about it is because of that, I had already been tracking cause and effect because that's my special interest as an ADHDer is cause and effect. And I could see the correlation between, as soon as I was introduced to astrology, I could see the correlation between some of my highs and my lows were also literally connected with some of the things that were going on in the sky. And what that looks like is I want to use, for me personally, I'm going to go on a journey, a vulnerability journey with you from here until the end of the year of 2024, where I'm going to color one of the coloring pages out of my Astrological Harmony intuitive coloring book because I need help finding my shadows. I need help finding the energy that is still blocking me from moving forward. Coming from someone who has a massively dysregulated nervous system, energy affects me so much and it freezes me up. And I've been in fight or flight my entire life. My parents were in fight or flight their entire life, their parents and their parents and their parents. We got a lot of deep ancestral connections with this dysregulated nervous system based on poverty and abuse and neglect. We have a whole lot of it based on a whole lot of stuff over generations. And so because of that, I right now in my life have a physical body that will freeze up. I have a brain that decides to do some wonky stuff. What I am seeking to do by doing these intuitive coloring pages is to find where I have shadow that's still showing up, whether it's mine, whether it's ancestral, whether it is societal, whether it is empathed. I am looking in my own energy to find out what's going on. And that's what intuitive coloring really does. It teaches you to check in with your own energy and to better understand and work with your intuition. And I felt very strongly impressed to, and when I say strongly impressed, I mean, I was like, Heavenly Father, what am I supposed to do? And he said, why don't you color one of your coloring pages and use that as a way for release, but also use that as a way to show people that navigating their fears, navigating their shadow doesn't have to be scary. We can navigate our shadows with Christ. We don't have to be afraid. One of the things that I live by right now and that I have learned over the years, especially just the last couple years, is that I want to navigate my fear with faith. I'm human. I'm going to have fears. I'm going to have them until the day that I die because I am human. However, as long as I learn to navigate those fears with Christ, when I recognize one of those reactions in my system, a fear-based reaction, I can turn to him and I can seek that relief. I can seek that peace. I can seek letting it go when I become more aware of it. But I only become more aware of it when I work with him. Super funny. I have a mantra that you're going to hear me talk about a lot if you hang around on this channel. It is the cry unto the Lord principle. Cry unto the Lord. Wah! When we are healing, when we are seeking change, when we are looking to bring in good things in our life, when we're looking to do anything and everything, we are commanded to pray always. We are commanded to pray. And when we do that, it is crying unto the Lord. And it's an acronym. Wah! We are willing, we are humble, aware, we start to acknowledge, we start to be accountable, which is where repentance and forgiveness come in. And we accept what it is and are grateful for whatever it is that's happening. And we give it to Christ and know that he is the one who's going to take care of it. When we cry unto the Lord in all of our areas, whether it is the shadow or the light that was within us, we are in communion with heaven and we can navigate and feel a lot more happier in life. What intuitive coloring is going to do for us, for me specifically, as I'm sharing this, and if you decide to go on that adventure too, is it's going to help me to better understand the shadow, to be aware of where things are showing up. Trying to find our shadow doesn't have to be scary or uncomfortable. It really doesn't. It can be as fun as this. So let's dive in and go. This is the PDF version of my coloring book. And so what I did is I just printed off the PDF. So I have PDF versions, and I actually have 5 coloring books, 6 actually, total. But there's a beginners, there's a improving relationships and intimacy, overcoming grief, elevating your business, and then astrological harmony. And I also have a scripture meditation one that's specifically based on the Book of Mormon and the Come Follow Me curriculum for that. And it's based on that. That one is right now is only available on Amazon. So these hardback guys, these are only available on Amazon. PDFs are available on my website. Anyway, when it comes to that, I'm going to color a page. And so you're going to see me hop on here and I'll go through what it looks like. But just to print out, this is what it looks like. And there's a page where you get to write your chart. I'm going to add Chiron on here because I forgot. So I have to add Chiron onto your chart so you have a quick reference for when you're going. Starts with Aries, goes through the different, starts with Aries, goes through all the 12 signs, and then it transitions into the planets, the descendants, the north nodes, south nodes, and then the planets. And then the Mercuries, the Earths, the Saturns, Plutos, and then it transitions into the houses. So from now until the end of the year, I am going to be coloring a page a day, sometimes 2, because I have 44 days. I have 44 colorings. I have 44 drawings that I want to color before the end of the year. So I have my breakthrough for me. And if I find that while I'm coloring that one of them is showing me that I have more going on there and I have to work on it, perk of the PDF, I can just print out another one of that one and I can keep coloring on it. So I'll stay engaged with you there. But the first one is going to be all about Aries. I'm going to be using, I have markers, I have alcohol markers, I have colored pencils, and I also have watercolor colored pencils. And so I will be using all of them at different times based on what I feel, because intuitive coloring is all about what you feel, how you feel, what's happening. And you choose the implement that you're going to color with based on what you're feeling. So what I do is, because I'm going to use the markers, I'm doubling up my paper and putting on a clipboard so that I don't stain my background. Okay. And here we go with some coloring. Let's see what comes up. Felt purples. I'm gonna pull some of them out, and then it's interesting when I feel a dominant purple coming on, which I don't usually feel that to grab with the markers. That's interesting. Gonna start yawning. That means some energy is already moving. We yawn when we have some neurons moving around in our brains. Which energy is shifting. But when I do intuitive coloring, I generally can connect that the color that I'm working on, and in this case, the purples, correlates also with the chakras. And so for me right now, it shows me that the Aries energy that's within me is there's some crown chakra energy, whether it's that they're connected well together or that I need to connect them well together. I'm yachted. What's also really strange is that these markers don't smell like oranges at all, but all of a sudden I smell oranges. Like citrus. That's interesting. Citrus. And I still smell it with them. That's weird. I got some citrus and some crown chakra going on. Oh, when I personally am doing drawings, I don't get insights every single stroke I take all the time. Sometimes I actually don't get insights until it's done, or little feelings along the way. Also, sometimes I actually don't get a feeling of what any of it is, but I can feel that I feel better from it. And so I don't have any qualm or any need for it to be a certain experience when I'm using intuitive coloring to help me process. It's a form of what I call intuitive release. When you learn to connect with your intuition, it doesn't hold me too. When you learn to connect with your intuition and work with it that way. Oh, this feels really deep. I can feel my body. I am a hyper empath. I should have clarified that. highly intuitive and a hyper empath. Hence why I teach empaths how to increase peace and decrease fear, but also why I am an intuitive mentor. I have also very physical reactions sometimes to energy movement and energy shifting. Not everyone is going to experience what I experience. And so right now, the depth that I'm feeling, it feels way deep down inside of my body. It's a depth that when I'm coloring, it helps me to understand that there's some kind of depth here that I don't get. As soon as I finished coloring that, it felt like a seed. It felt like I was coloring a seed. And I'm not going to make any inferences on that of my logical mind trying to make like, oh, it has to be this or this or this. Nope. If I don't get any additional insight about what it is, I'm not going to try to make something out of it that is nothing. I'm going to just follow the feels and go with the feelings as I get them. Right now, all of a sudden, as soon as I started coloring these, I started feeling blueberries. And as soon as I said blueberries, it reminded me of a time that I worked in Maine for a few summers at an all boys camp in my early 30s. I didn't go to college until I was 29. And so I wasn't married, didn't have any kids. And the summers off from college, I took a job, not took a job, I found a job and went to a job that was at a summer camp in Maine. It was on the lake. I was the arts and crafts and ceramics teacher the first 2 years, and then I was the woodshop teacher the third year. And there was a couple years in between of the arts and crafts and ceramics. I didn't go back for a couple years, but there's something showing up relating to camp. Camp Winnebago. I highly recommend it, especially for teenagers. If like your first year college students and you're looking for a summer job, I highly recommend summer camps. Winnebago, Camp Winnebago in Fayette, Maine, changed my life. I had so many experiences that helped me to get to know. That's also before I knew I was autistic, though. So it was a little more challenging to navigate some stuff. But I would do it again. It was an experience that was wonderful and educational and hard and challenging, but also fun and adventurous. And I would do it again, even though it was hard. So I'm getting to go over the line. I have a feeling of embarrassment coming up. I don't know what it's about yet, but all of a sudden I feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed. This feels like a stomach or an organ, like a body organ as I'm coloring it. Body organ. Oh, so what just came into my mind too is that Aries, I am an Aries sun. I should have prefaced that. So Aries are natural leaders. They like order and structure and to get things done. There's power in Aries. However, part of my shadow experience at camp was that I was very controlling. Um, the second year I was there, I got a concussion. The first week at camp, a camper and I were playing ping pong, not together, we were playing with other people, but both of our ping pong balls had fallen on the ground. We both bent down to get them and didn't see each other. And we smacked heads on our way up. And he hit me. We hit where his head, hardest part of his head, hit the softest part of my head. And I had a concussion the entire summer. The next 3 months, I had migraines. I had to be quiet. I had to, when I was teaching, I had to just teach them what to do and then just back away. And that isn't something I had ever done before. I was very much a helicopter teacher up until that point. So I laugh with the Lord and I'm like, it's funny you had to give me a concussion to teach me not to be a control freak. That's kind of the feeling that's coming up. So Aries, there's a lot of control freak feelings that are coming. That embarrassment about being a control freak. I don't think I've ever released those embarrassed feelings because even though my Aries sun is a big part of me, I have lots of other energy inside of me that doesn't like the control freak. So it makes sense that there's other parts of me that would be embarrassed. So I choose to give my embarrassment to Christ. I choose. And when it comes to the crown chakra, there's another component in this that I'm feeling right now that I also used to not acknowledge, like understanding that God is the one who inspired me to do some things that I did, and that the feeling of embarrassment I had wasn't validated. I have a thing with where I've just picked on myself. I have had to learn to be kind to myself and extend grace to myself and be generous with my thoughts and kind with them, and to not accept shame as the go-to way to process. And that's what it feels like right now too, is that I need to let go fully and completely of shame being my way to process, that I need to give to God and not do shame. This doesn't feel right anymore. Like, it feels weird, so I'm gonna feel like I need to work on it. No more shame, no more embarrassment, and not even like beating myself up for like having shame. That's something I think we do too, is, oh, I can't believe I did that. Oh, I can't believe I have so much shame. I can't believe I'm so mean to myself. And then it just perpetuates the cycle. I don't want to perpetuate the cycle. I want to be pioneering. I want to love myself. I want to love myself so I can better love my neighbor. I want to choose kindness and love and be generous with my words and my time, my money, my resources. I want to be generous. And you know what? I know I have to start by being generous with myself if I want to learn to be generous with other people. Otherwise, I'm just faking it, because we can't be two different people, right? How we treat ourselves is literally how we treat other people. And if we don't, and we think we're not treating other people that way, then we are masking massively and we're not being our authentic self anyway. So, no faking it. If I am mean to me, I am mean to others, and I don't want that. I don't want that. So, what just came as I was doing that too is I grew up with a lot of stomach issues. I think it was a lot of stress as an undiagnosed ADHDer, and how much I felt and how much I was just picking up. I would stay home from school just with stomach aches so that I could have a break from the day. But I did. I had a lot of stomach aches growing up, and there's still something massively connected here. So let's figure out what that is. There does feel like there's only the one purple left, but it feels like I'm going to be using other colors, and it might be the colored pencils that come in. I am getting nauseous as I'm doing this. Again, that doesn't happen to everyone. But the way I empath and the way I process, it's a whole body, mind, and soul experience for me. Which I need, interesting enough, because of the type of learner I am. I'm a hands-on learner. Oh, that's funny. And because it helps me to really understand the depth or the extremeness of something when I can understand its impact on the body. So it's very helpful for me to have a whole body experience with being an empath and feeling energy. Okay, I have kid cereal, like sugar cereal coming into my mind right now. Fruit Loops, or what is that? Count Chocula, that brand. There was a blueberry one, wasn't there? Kind of like blueberry muffins is coming into my mind right now too. It's interesting. And we're going with markers. It's interesting. I want to sing. So instead of holding back, because I'm recording, I'm still going to sing and we'll see what happens with what I'm feeling. I feel horrible, but it's a trick. It's a trick to feel sick. It's a trick to feel sick. Trick. So I make my stomach feel horrible because my head feels horrible. And then the Wicked song Popular just came into my head. To feel horrible. Instead of popular, horrible. Horrible, popular. One of the things with high school, I wasn't popular, but I had friends in all different genres of the youth. I had friends in all different areas. I got along with people. I wasn't picked on. I wasn't messed with. I got along with people. In elementary school, I was bullied by a kid, but only one kid. And he was weird, so I didn't care. Like, perks of my autistic brain is at that I didn't care because he was weird. And I'm positive he was autistic or at least had some kind of neurodiversity going on as well. Because we were in the same special like extended learning program, like we were in the smart kids class together. And he went there often because teachers couldn't handle him because he was a little kooky. So um anyway, the kooky. Different stories that come out, right? So everything has a reason. There's a reason that all these are coming. There's a reason that his name was Michael McGuire. There's a reason that Michael McGuire came into my mind just now. There's a reason it's at the same time that I'm having these experiences with Camp Winnebago, these experiences with my stomach issues, with not letting go of embarrassment. Maybe there was parts of me that actually really cared that Michael was teasing me. But other parts of me that spoke louder that said they didn't care. Feels like I'm getting onto something. It feels like I'm on the path. So I felt impressed to just use orange, but then I went, I don't want to use orange. It doesn't match the stuff. Oh, and as soon as I did though, the Phoenix Suns came out. When I was in elementary school, sticking. Look how far back some of this energy is. Um, when I was in elementary school, I won a Phoenix Suns basketball hat or a yeah, just a hat. It was a Phoenix Suns and it was orange and purple and teal and yellow. It very much matched. I don't remember where and how I won it. I did win it though. Or maybe I had my mom buy it. That's my printer turning off, if you heard that. Printer. Phoenix Suns. Maybe it didn't have turquoise, but it definitely was the orange and purple and yellow. I'll have to look it up. There was a boy I liked that loved basketball when I was a little kid. I don't even know why I liked him. Like, I have no concept. I being one of my things of recognizing my autism as an adult is this weird fixation with guys. from a young age. And I've seen the pattern of it in other autistic women that there's this like massive hyperfixation. For me personally, I feel like it's connected to that family, that ancestral trauma, and that connection of not having connection, like a healthy connection with men, fathers or brothers or whatever it might be. These feel really gross, by the way. Like these three that I just put in, they feel like nauseating gross. They kind of feel like a dirty band-aid. Like it does not feel good. um like those have to get gone. I have to do something with those. Those feel horrible. Oh, I want a black Sharpie. I want a black Sharpie. And of course my black Sharpies are over there. Maybe I'll use this guy. That'll be okay. Black, black, black. Let's use this guy. God, feels so gross. Blah, blah, blah. Hmm, whatever they're symbolizing. Excuse me. They feel better now that I've traced them, but what the freak are they? Oh, as I'm doing that, I'm holding my mouth. If you just saw that, I just went, oh, and I touched my face. Oh, so gross. So there's something, I've actually had teeth issues my whole life. Soft teeth, I've had soft teeth. I had to have pinholes filled in all of my teeth when I was a kid. I've had cavities my whole life. I've had soft teeth and being neurodivergent, not realizing I hate brushing my teeth because all the sensations. Toothpaste was disgusting. The texture of brushing my teeth was disgusting. The water was disgusting. Like all the things. As an adult, I now have worked through it. Not that I worked through it. I now know that I still have to do it. So I have found toothpastes and toothbrushes that I can process with, right? But as a kid, I did not. Oh, those feel gross. Ew, they still feel gross. Not as gross, but the black feels like it's like a covering it up. It doesn't feel like it's releasing it. It feels like, oh, instead of healing, I just found ways to put the band-aid on it. And it's like this rotting underneath energy. That's not fun. That was really not fun. I was not expecting that. Ew. So part of my Aries energy has been burying things that should not be buried. Okay. Well, here's the thing that's really cool about intuitive creating is that why I like doing it on just printer paper too. And I'll do this even with my fancy expensive watercolor paper if something feels gross. You just tear it out. Nope, we don't want to leave any of that. So we're going to go back to the other one too and get out that last. I am conscious now that I do not want to bury anything. I don't want to cover anything up. I want to get it out. I want to heal it. I want to process it. I choose to process it. I choose to heal it, even if it removes things from other things. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because Christ makes things whole. I don't have to try to keep things whole. I don't have to try to make things pretty. I don't have to try. That's me being prideful if I'm the one who's trying to control it, is that God will make it better. He will clean it up. I can make things messy and ugly as needed for my healing, because Christ will come in and help it. All right, these guys have to get torn up all the way. Feels better. Can you tell? Can you tell it feels better? Ooh, that was a lot. Mm. And it's also when you're tearing something up, you're intuitively tearing it up. You're feeling the peace of where to tear it, how small to tear it. When the tearing is complete, you'll feel peace about it and it'll feel complete. You don't have to try to use your conscious mind or like, oh, it has to be this way. It has to be torn and it has to be. No, just follow the feels. When you feel peace, there is your sign that the release is complete. And quite honestly, I've said this a whole bunch. You're probably going to hear me say it a whole bunch more is that the reason that we know what peace feels like is because most often we follow the chaos and then we deal with the consequences of the chaos feeling that we followed instead of the peace feeling that we followed. And we learn to follow peace because at first we learned to follow chaos. So, most people, not everyone. In my case, that was absolutely true. I I definitely did a whole lot of stuff where I didn't follow the small impressions that I received, and lo and behold, stuff happened. Um, all of a sudden, I felt to still use black and go with a pen drawing and get some additional movement. These kind of feel like octopus tentacles. Not kind of, they feel like octopus tentacles. If there's any of that energy that's still harmful or suctioning or just unserving, I choose to let that go. I choose to let it go. This feels like a curtain, like a theater curtain coming down. That's interesting. I was not a theater kid. I don't know where that came from, except again, in elementary school, I did play one of the, uh, um, oh no, the little munchkins in, uh, Allison, no, Allison Wonderland, The Wizard of Oz in like, I don't know, fifth grade, I think we did The Wizard of Oz, and I was one of the lollipop kids. Lollipop kid? Lollipop kid? One of the little people. One of the little people. So apparently there's a whole bunch of, and I don't have real memories of things happening again with that fight or flight when your system goes into such high levels of fight or flight your whole life. You don't tend to have recall of memory. I'm positive the memories are in here. I haven't had recall. Which, fun fact, there has been talk lately I've seen on the socials about lion's mane helping it for memory recall and how people are like, do not take it if you do not want to recall some stuff. And I was like, well, maybe that's the thing that will help me to process through because I'm not afraid of what it is that might come up because quite honestly, all the things that are bad or that don't feel good, they're already in here. I already know they exist. It's just a matter of not talking about them anymore, right? Like, no, I can't ever admit them. No, I've admitted them. One of the things with being a pioneering woman is like blatant honesty is the thing that's going to heal you more than anything. And if you can start to just be honest with yourself and honest with God and learn what that is instead of like being who you think you're supposed to be, and things change drastically. Feelings inside of you will change drastically if you're just honest with what you're actually feeling and thinking and not shaming or blaming yourself or being mean to yourself for those thoughts or for those feelings. And you also take those ugly or gross feelings and you take them to the God and you work with God through them instead of trying to bury them and stuff them away, right? Because look at what happened. Look at what happens with the throwing things away with the stuffing. It feels way better. Can you feel that? Putting those little sun rays on those suds or all those yellows. Whew, started to feel better. I also, as an adult, I have some digestive issues. As an adult, I have low stomach acid. And so maybe doing the shifty shifts will help my stomach, help my digestion, because this all now feels like digestion. This feels like the stomach and this feels like the bowels. These feel like communication signals. So it's like, oh, maybe they haven't been communicating and they've needed, hey, communicate. Hey, large and small intestine, you're friends, right? Oh, nope, you're not friends. Let's get you friends. Um, I'm getting everything in my bowels to work together for my good and help them to know that they don't have to be in fight anymore either, that God created them perfectly and that we don't have to be afraid of trusting God and his perfection and fixing. Something that came up relating to that topic last night actually was the mindset of God gives and God taketh. God gives and God taketh away. And I realized that in my system, ancestrally, even not just mine, but ancestrally, it was showing up that all we knew was a God that took away, and the giving that he gave was negative. And so it helped me to understand that my definition of a God who gives and takes away, that it was on fear, that it was a fear-based belief in a God who gives and takes away rather than a faith-based foundation, or the sandy foundation, the foolish man foundation versus the wise man of the rock. And so shifting that energy too of knowing that it is with faith that I know that God gives and God takes away. I don't have to be afraid of that. I don't have to think that's scary. I can be thankful for it and see it as a blessing, not as a negative thing. So all of our healing, all of the thoughts that we have that come to our mind and things that we're working through, they're all connected. Notice how stuff that came up last night is also connecting with what I'm doing today. It's like it was a preparation for my body. Oh, I just had like a take hold in my system. Oh. All right. Let's go. Let's go, Aries. Let's go. All right, my dear. Thank you. Thank you, stomach. Thank you, intestines. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you're doing for me, for communicating in the corners, for communicating around the edges, communicating and working together. And stomach, are you friends with my intestines? Are you? Thank you. Thank you for working together for my good. I've learned over the years that gratitude is what shifts us from that scarcity, that fear-based mindset, is that when we can have gratitude for the good and the bad that happens in our life, it shifts us out of just living in fear or faith mentality. It transitioned us to living the faith and navigating the fear with the faith. It transitioned us. So gratitude is legit. Hey, stomach, what do you need? Big. Also, it feels like it's elongated. Excuse me. When really it needs to be not this long. Like it feels like it needs to just be. It's okay, stomach. You're doing good. We don't have to elongate you anymore. You can go back to regular size. Regular size. As funny as it is, they're now starting to feel like daisies. They're now starting to feel like flowers that are flowers that are growing and producing, multiplying. Well, that's fun. So I'm turning it around and checking it because it feels like it's done. When I'm in that direction, also feels like it's almost done when I look at it from that way. This feels like hair. As I'm drawing it, it feels like hair strands in that seed. Like, here, have some hair. Thanks. I've actually been like losing some hair in some of the spots. So if this has been a stress thing, I bring that hair back. I want it. I want it back. So That would be great. It also now feels like a walnut shell. Like it feels like a not hairy. It just feels like the shape is there, or the texture of that shell. Ooh. Which just came into my mind is that walnuts represent brains. That two halves and how it comes open, and oh, maybe I'm allergic to my brain. Maybe that's the Aries in me, is the Aries has tried to keep things in check and try to be super controlling because my brain had some struggles. It's okay, Aries. We trust our brain now. We trust our brain. And really, what that means is we trust God. We trust our brain knows God now and knows how to seek peace and feel peace, and knows how to repent, knows how to serve, knows how to love, learning to love even more, but knows how to at least start, right? I felt white water rafting energy right here, between these two. As I was doing these ones didn't feel like it, but this did. I went on a rafting trip in Flaming Gorge, Utah when I was a teenager. I think I was like 16. I took my friend Jamie. It was a church outing, and there were these guys that came, and they were cute. And I'm now recognizing I have some embarrassment and shame that has to let go there. And there's a lot of things that I didn't understand that I did as a teenager that could have been controlling with my friends. Like, I don't have a lot of memories again of times as a teen. There's certain things that stand out, but the emotion of embarrassment is a pretty big one that I will say stands out. Because even as an adult, when I look back and know the memories that I have, I was an idiot. And that's okay. That is okay. Idiot choices, they happen to all of us. And that's why I also have to forgive myself and extend compassion and grace and say, hey, my friend, you did the best you could with what you had. You don't have to be unkind. Yes, it was embarrassing. Acknowledge it. Yes, that is embarrassing that you did those things, but you know what? That's also okay. It's also okay that you did those things. All right. I think we're done. They're little bugs. I have four little energies that I need to get out about those experiences and being bugged. Being bugged by my actions, being bugged by my choices, being bugged. I choose to no longer be bugged. I choose to be grateful. I choose to see the good in those moments. I choose to see that even my weirdness helped other people to learn and grow too. I choose not to be bugged anymore. No more bugged. I choose to not be bugged anymore. Oh, here comes the yawn. Oh, all right. I used to want to tear it up, and now I don't want to tear it up anymore. It feels really nice. Let's take a look at it. There we go. We'll keep this over here. I will probably, not probably, I am going to end up throwing it away. um, let's see. Does it want to get ripped up completely now? It can. It can. And then I'll throw it away. Something important with the back, needing to show the back and to understand that there's something going on back there too. Something was always being done. I want to let go of the things that are seen that I worked on the front, and I'm choosing to let go of the things that were unseen that were still being impacted by the things on the front. Choose to let go of the seen the seen and the unseen, right? Choose to let it go. As funny as it is, I've also learned that faith is an action word, and it can be as small as picking up a marker and coloring a piece of paper. There is no definition that faith has to look a certain way. All we know is that faith is an action word. And so when we take the smallest action, even if it's like earlier when it was like, I don't want to sing, I'm on the video. Nope, just sing. Even if it sounds funny, if it depends if you have to do it under your breath, taking the action is the thing that's going to bring the answers. Faith is action. So find whatever works for you, because hopefully it's intuitive coloring. It's really fun. You don't have to use my coloring pages. You can just start coloring on a page. Just know that the coloring pages, though, have intention and faith and intuition already combined in there. So it does help to simplify as you're coloring, because those are the three things that really are the foundation of when you're coloring. Doing intuitive coloring is you're setting your intention to find an answer, you're using your intuition, and you're using your faith. So these coloring pages have my faith, intention, and intuition combined on them. So it just helps to ease you in a little bit quicker if you need the help. But I will be back tomorrow for the Taurus page. Ooh, let's see what happens. And as soon as I said that, I felt like I might be doing these out of order. I might need to, we will follow the feels. We will. But tomorrow I'll do Taurus. See you then.